And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning.
Right, let's get into it. We're going to start with Daily Trust newspaper. This morning, page 4 is where we're starting from. NLC, Nasima, others demand petrol price hike reversal.
It's a sad day indeed. And yesterday, a sad day indeed. And I know that something in my spirit tells me that we might jolly well hit the 1,000 naira per litre mark in a country where the minimum wage is 70,000. What made it worse for me yesterday was a small story that was hidden somewhere where it's being said that the federal government is considering increasing VAT from 7.5 to 10%. So I asked myself the question, for how long and how far are we going to be pushed? I spoke to a shop owner just this morning. She hasn't had sales for 2 weeks.
Oh,
and she's on a high street. She's on a high street and she hasn't had sales for 2 weeks. And jobs are off by the day. Everybody's just trying to hustle this thing or the other. What makes it most painful is that A, there doesn't seem to be a solution in sight. B, you get an impression that the government is uncaring. You get an impression that they're uncaring, both by their attitude and by the things they do, and by the fact that there has been no concrete plan that has been laid out to say, okay, this is the roadmap of where we are going, this is what we want to achieve. And that's why the NLC feel so betrayed this morning. The headline, NLC, Nasima, others demand petrol price hike. In the Vanguard, it says, anger trails rise in pump price of petrol to 855 naira per litre. The average car would need close to 70 to 80,000 to fill the tank. And my first impression, believe you me, this morning was to put my car up for sale. That maybe I should go buy a bicycle or something. It sounds like a joke, but it's unsustainable. Incomes are going down, expenses are going up in multiples. And what now makes it even worse is that there is an attempt, I believe, that's my belief, an attempt to make you even fear to protest, lest you be charged for treason. But we've been down this road before, some of us who are older. And I don't want to get religious, but whether I like it or not, I believe God. So the God that got us out of that will get us out of this one. If you are in a bus or you're everywhere, just say an amen to that prayer. Don't say because it's coming from the mouth of Jimi. I didn't hear you say amen.
No, I don't share in that philosophy.
In which philosophy?
God is getting us out of it.
Oh, really?
No.
We can have a debate on this.
Oh, yes, of course, I'm ready for it.
The leading pastor said that our problem is spiritual.
No, there's nothing like that.
Oh.
Yes. Absolutely.
You don't believe our problem
It
is
should
spiritual?
come through with proof.
No, Daddy hasn't spoken to you yet. Let down to business, Jerry. Forget the comedy between Sheriff and I. That looked like a planned script. Yeah, I'd like to start doing something. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't look good at all. In Lagos, NNPC stations adjusted their price to 855 from 568. In Kano, it's 902. In Abuja, 887 per litre. And it says that this happened 2 days after the NNPCL notified the public of its 6 billion indebtedness to importers. It's the same old pattern that we have. You first of all start from the point of scarcity. When people get frustrated, any new price will be welcome. But now, if you walk on the island and you are coming from the mainland, you spend a minimum of 2,000 going and coming on transportation alone, with a minimum salary of 70,000. 2,000 times 20 gives you what now? About 40,000. So you're almost wiped out. Yeah. It's not looking good. The NLC are not too happy. Ajero says that the president had told the organized labor during negotiation to choose between 250,000 and increase in price of fuel, or accept 70,000 and allow the price of fuel to remain the same. And he says, but here we are, barely 1 month, and with government yet to commence payment of the new national minimum wage, confronted by a reality we cannot explain. It is both traumatic and nightmarish. Yet, when we told the government that its approach to resolving the fuel subsidy contradictions was patently faulty and will not last, its front row cheerleaders sneered at us, saying we did not understand basic economics. But if truth be told, this act of betrayal is consistent with the character of this government. We recall the assurances we were given by the leadership of the National Assembly on the 250% tariff hike, that it had been dealt with and there was no need to openly engage the Minister of Power who was at that meeting. That's in the area of power again. And it says, instead of the promised reversal, the rate has since been jacked up further, putting more Nigerians and businesses in jeopardy. The combined effects of the government's ferocious right-wing market policies brought Nigerians and Nigeria to their all-time low and led to the End Hunger, End Bad Government protests. Is there a hand that is pushing certain persons in all this? Is there is something to think about? Is there a hand that wants to destroy this country? Because we are gradually leading to a terrible state. Is there a hand that is pushing this country to knock it out completely? Anyway, no time. We'll make up time sometime next week to look at these things. To look at these things critically. But the paragraph in what Ajero said is also important. It says, rather than make amends, government arrested and hounded into detention some of those who took part and some of those who had nothing to do with these protests, charging them with criminal conspiracy, subversion, treasonable felony, terrorism, financing, and cybercrime, with an intent to overthrow the government of President Tinubu. Nasima, in their reaction, says that the new pumpers will worsen inflation. You don't need to be told about that. Mm-hmm. That's definitely going to happen. Mm-hmm. Citizens across the country, according to the trust, have expressed their frustration over the latest increase. And in Abuja, there is no fuel at all. They are even in the black market. What I will also tell you this is that not only is the fuel so expensive, it's the lowest grade. Sheriff, the check engine of my car has been about 4 or 5 times to my mechanic Larry with my check engine on. It's always the fact that the car is telling me that the fuel is bad. The combustion of the... So you're driving a car, you're destroying your car by using this fuel.
That's right.
It's a very, very sad situation. The Vanguard headline says that anger trails rise in pump price of petrol to 8.55 per litre. And the riders are federal government denies ordering NNPC to raise price. That always happens. Prices range between 9.30 per litre and 1,350 per litre. Pricing crisis confusion engulf petrol markets. We are not aware of any fuel price increase. NNPCL, that is a lie. All the marketers were instructed about the new price.
Even they themselves.
Yeah. So it says that let's say they are not aware. Well, the kind of lies you get from this
it's
getting out of hand.
It's just unbelievable. Your own filling stations have adjusted their pump,
and you say you're not
aware. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
If I can't do this job again, no.
I think we should quit.
Check out my lolly.
Yeah, my lolly. Check out my lolly.
I can't do this job. I'm having a headache. Labor demands immediate reversal. So, the question to ask is, what is Labor's next step? The problem is, you've called out a strike one too many. You understand? So, strike might not work here. So, what are you going to do? That's the question Joe should come and tell. It's not enough to have all the papers saying what you're saying and so on and so forth. What exactly are you going to do? Because this government must, I'm sorry to say, and I'm saying it with a sense of responsibility, some of the things they do must be resisted We must force them to take another look. It must be resisted. This is a prescription for chaos. It must be resisted down the line. And it will negatively impact manufacturers and worsen inflation. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria.
Yes,
those ones that are endangered species.
I'm going to have them on the air sometime in weeks ahead, because I want to look at how this will pan out. Incidentally, when this news broke yesterday and everybody was in panic mode, understandably so, I had to also look out for my guys. So I went to my boss's office. Alas, on getting there, I saw people there already complaining about how they're going to get to work.
Oh, your boss does it?
Yes.
Yes. I also spoke to him yesterday.
He's
worried.
It's just
everybody
it's
is worried.
Disturbing.
Everybody is worried. I took some very quick decisions yesterday, which I'll tell you about later. Once lifestyle is not sustainable again, you have to scale down.
You have to scale down.
It's not sustainable. Because you ask yourself, very simple, what kind of income will you have that you would be able to bring out 90,000 to fill a tank of a car that you might have to do twice in a month?
No way.
It's 180,000. Wait.
No way.
And look, before by Bolts from here to Sulere, it used to be between 800 1,000. Last time I did it, it was 5k. With this new increase,
yeah, it's going to go up again. It's certainly going to go up again.
Please, if you have a nice bicycle for sale, I have a buyer for you here.
Oh my word!
It's not sustainable. And what makes it worse? You see, all this you would understand if it affected everybody all around. We took one of the most luxurious planes to China to show off. We packed it like that. The Republic of Nigeria. That's when I cracked a joke that how can you drive a Rolls Royce to go to somebody whose house you want to ask for a loan? We went in all grandeur to China. Who are you trying to impress? Who? You needed to see in his glory and in his might. We just don't get it. But let's go. Too many sweet stories there.
Right, let's go pick up the Vanguard. We'll most likely return to the charts later. This story reads: anger trails rise in pump price of petrol to 8.55 naira.
Okay, so I think we've dealt with that. I was going to do with this separately.
Okay, so all right. Let's move on to the Punch then. Southern Monarchs caution against planned October protest.
Well, the thing is, the Monarchs, if they are going to be, if the Monarchs, if they want to plead with the people not to protest in October, they have to set a good example by showing their sympathy with the people by scaling down. You can't be sitting down in your palace in all the glory and telling a man who has not fed for about 2-3 days not to protest. Our leaders need to get that. You can't be living in opulence and then backing down at people and tell them not to protest when there is hunger in their bellies. These monarchs, if they are not careful, some of them will become completely irrelevant. And in case they don't know, maybe it's time to tell some of them that people have categorized them in the same group with those who are, to use the word, oppressing the people, because that's what it is. I mean, you see some monarchs, you ask yourself, what's all this about? Luxury cars, trails of people, women, wives, and in the midst of this kind of hunger. And it's the same people that the government runs to. They claim that they are close to the people. Most of them are not. It's packaging. And I hope that they do not get a good example of what I'm saying. But they need to check history. So these monarchs, I beg you, and whatever, to make yourselves relevant, can you please, at least at this time, identify with the people? Not by giving palliatives, not by telling them to come and take paper bag of derica of rice and so on and so forth. No. Scale down yourself. Identify. You cannot go to the house of a bereaved gloriously dressed. And many people are bereaved. They are walking, they are breathing, but they are dead. They are dead. I told you, Sheriff, on a high street, had no customer for 2 weeks.
That's unbelievable.
How many times have you gone to a supermarket and come out empty? So this appeal, and it says it's the Southern Nigerian Traditional Rulers Council. My advice is we will advise them first before you come to advise us that if you don't identify with the people, it will be difficult for them to listen to what you have to say.
True that.
It will be difficult.
True that.
And that also goes for our religious leaders. All this prosperity nonsense, this is not the time for it. This is the time for you to identify with people who made you prosperous. After when the religious leader says he's prosperous, where is his money coming from? Is it not from the people? These are the times when we have to look at ourselves straight in the eye and tell ourselves some home truths. There is no amount of whatever. Because there's no sugarcoating, because people are terribly hungry. Things are very, very bad.
Before we move on to the next story, right?
Yes.
I want to go back to the issue of the pump price, the hike in the pump price, and
Yes.
I want you to help us look at, what this means for employment, for household income, for nutrition of young children in coming weeks.
You already said it. You've hinted at it. It's a big challenge. You're going to have more. This is not, I told you, this is analysis. It's not this. You're going to have more people dying, more people falling sick, more people out of jobs. You're going to have a lot of families are going to be disrupted. It could get to a point where you cannot even send your child to a free primary school. Who's going to buy the uniform? What is the income of people, Sheriff? Some of these people you see by the roadside cooking, what is their income? We need to do first a reality check, and nobody is guiding us as to how we are going to be able to cushion the effect of this. We keep being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. It's gotten out of hand. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Oh, yes. Now, okay, the latest thing now is that many people sleep in their offices. I saw somebody, a woman, she once she comes to work on Sunday, she can't go home until, you saw me yesterday. You heard me when I was, yes. She doesn't go home, she has to stay here, a married woman. Isn't that a disruption in the family? So she works in one place. The husband has no work at all. He has to wait until she comes over the weekend. Is that a life? So if care is not taken, you forgot to add the major one, that is security.
Security.
I don't want to mention the kind of things that can
Major.
happen, so it won't look as if one is inciting people to do this. But I can tell you this, locking your doors and whatever, God forbid, might not help. If you get what I'm saying. Because it has gotten that bad. It's gotten that bad.
Let's go take our next story now. This is on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. PDP governors vow to continue supporting Fubara, Flay Wike.
Unless the PDP get rid of Wike, they're not going to go anywhere. That's the honest to God truth. And already you don't need a soothsayer or an analyst to tell you that his ambition is to break that party down completely. He has his agenda. He's working for, I believe it's difficult to convince me that he's not working for the APC. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. How do you, a minister of the Federal Republic, go in public and say you set fire to states? What kind of bullying is this? Why can't somebody put this gentleman in check, for God's sake? And how come the president is comfortable with his appointed minister making threats at this time? If any other person made that threat, he'll be charged for treason.
That's right.
He'll be charged for embarrassing the president. He'll be charged for
threatening the
cyber
president,
crime and charged for this and that.
Trying to overthrow the president.
He said, I would set fire to the states. You know? And so, as far as I'm concerned, if the PDP don't get rid of Wike, I think it's a spoiler. That's what it is. It's a spoiler. Let them call his bluff and do without him. And the irony is all this so-called power of politicians, at the end of the day, is from their own use of state money. That's what it is. I'm not saying in his own case. At the end of the day, you will trace it to, state money. I remember Mr. Fix-It in this same PDP many years back. God bless his soul. He was Mr. Fix-It, but he didn't tie any road, and you understand what I'm saying? I leave you to sort the rest out. I'm not in any mood for any libel, whatever it is. They should call his bluff. And I hope that one day, pretty soon, we'll have another government that can call people like that, call them in, and ask them certain questions. Until that time, if the PDP know they want to progress, they need to. Because we need an alternate government, at least to be able to vote for. We need a very strong opposition, at least to give us an option, whether majority of us are happy with this government or not. I won't impose. They say Jimi Disu impose. I won't impose my choice on you, but let me have a choice. That's why I was very, very cross with Chief Bode George. We need to get this government working, or legitimately find an alternative. It's not against the law to find an alternative. A president can be impeached. It's not an offense. We need to do something. Are we going to sit down like this? We need to do the law provides, the Constitution provides for an alternative if you so desire.
Do you think PDP at this time would ever be that viable alternative?
They might not be, but this impunity, I would love this impunity to be broken, where politicians believe they can do anything and get away with it. That's why I would rather let someone have, if we're now going to have a roller coaster of alternatives till we get it right, let us even lay that precedent that the people can say that we don't want to, and that's it. Because it is legitimate, it's in the Constitution. It's legitimate. It's not it's not treasonable.
It's provided for, yes.
It's provided for in the Constitution. I'm not saying carry guns or whatever, but they're legitimate processes. Because I don't want to die yet, too. And the way this thing is going, I was begging a friend this morning, begging my friend vigorously to say that, please, do not allow mental health issues enter this matter that we are in. Because you cannot sustain it. I know what hospital bills are like. I was begging, don't allow, because the person was so frustrated. 2 weeks on the high street, you can't make one sale.
Let's go take a look at the Metro page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
Yeah. At least something to make you laugh a bit. Fleeing Lagos Botox enlargement doctor now in custody. The doctor is Idara Basi and had been declared wanted with the death of the 36-year-old woman during a Botox enlargement surgery. Please don't do these things. Please, I beg of you. In these times, this is the time to be vain. Nobody is looking at any Botox, please. This is not the time to be vain. Okay, so he's in custody. Some parents start with murder of Quadry graduates. Man caught defecating in public attacks Lagos. We had a bit of that when I covered the Bushiri Magistrates Court way back in the 70s. You have some accused persons, they defecate in the court and all kinds of nonsense. Yes. I like this story a lot, Sheriff. I found this so amusing. The Lagos State government has trained public toilet operators. What is there to train in a public toilet? There is no limits to propaganda. The Lagos State government has trained public toilet operators and janitors on new sanitation techniques and how to improve operational efficiency across the state. And our IG, Mr. Gbetokun, is 60, and the governor wishes him happy birthday, and so do we. His time has been extended by 4 years, and I say congratulations.
Right, let's take our last story. We're not going to dwell too much on this last story because we are out of time.
We're out of time, yes.
Yes, we're out of time. And the story is Shaun Chief Imam feud. Kings lack power over Chief Imam Olumo.
Hey, I think the government should step in very quickly and follow what the law says in this issue of the Shaun and the chief imam. I don't know what their local tradition says. But what I do know is there must be separation of not powers, but there must be. If a chief imam if a showun is going to have power over a chief imam, does he also have power over the pastors? There must be equity in these things. What does the law say? Osun State government shouldn't sit down and let a crisis. Sometimes there are some traditional things that are not backed by law, are just by tradition. And if there's a problem, and I said this, that because the gentleman who the Kabiyesi is a current pastor is going to present a problem, being a traditional ruler, and that is where we are now. Because the underlying thing, amongst all other considerations, is also the fact that he's a pastor, and the chief imam will be saying that. You understand? So I would love the Attorney General and indeed the Governor of Osun State to quickly step into this matter. We can't afford any crisis beyond this at this point in time. But please, I plead with people, if you are not ready to be a custodian of our traditional practices and religion, do not go near Obaship. I plead. Because you might get away with it because of the influence that you have, but we don't want a precipitate crisis like we have now. Because whether you like it or not, Sheriff, that underlying whatever is there, they'll be saying to him, but you with your crown, you knelt down for a pastor to put his hand on your head, which is against tradition. Now you will now want to be king over a chief imam. That's the truth. Let's tell ourselves the truth. There's no point trying to polish it any which way. So let the Osun State government quickly set in, have a 3-man committee headed by the Attorney General. Look at what the law says.
I think it's Oyo.
Is it Oyo?
Yes, I think it's Oyo.
Oh, it's Oyo. Sorry, it's Oyo. Yes, Ogbomoso is Oyo. Oyo State. I'm so sorry. Oyo. As I was saying, the governor, I thought that this man would still be dancing at this time, and I remember that he's Oyo. So
let's go.
Let somebody tell Sheyi, because that's what they call their governor.
All right.
Sheyi, yes.
You're back at 9 for
the
All right, good.
Yes.
Let's hand you back to Kofi now. Lagos, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on today's show. But don't go away. Kofi is next with the last 1 hour of the morning crossfire. Stay here, please.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.